Hello everybody, welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, the Uncharted Frontier. In today's episode we will continue trying to get into orbit. It is currently September 9th of 1953 and we just did some technology research, so it would be nice if we could see if we forgot anything, which I think we did. Just some simple, is that a battery? I'll take a battery. There we go. It'll take a bit to unlock, so we might as well unlock that. We have the time. And soon enough, it'll be September... no, it'll be October when this thing's done unlocking. So in October, we will have this thing unlocked, which is good to know for sure, because space-grade electronics are key in the development of our program. Just skip past everything and hope for the best. Yep, cancel the alarm. Done. Into the vehicle assembly building. So today we will try to focus on getting something to another continent. By that I mean an ICBM style missile. But we are not a military organization, so we do not have ICBM missiles. We have rockets, which are arguably quite similar. So I guess we'll use a Jupiter guidance unit this time around. They are quite larger and they have basic SAS on them. So we'll be able to nicely arrange ourselves a position. We have 60 electric charge this time around, which is really nice to see. But we also have a few other technological advancements we can work with, like for example new parachute types, but that's not what we care about. We're just going to use our default real shoot cone shoot, and we will, it's a main shoot designed for Earth, must go down to deploy true. Yeah, 5 spare shoots, automatic. Yeah, alright, well, that's good enough. And we will attach to the bottom of that a heat shield, as we now have access to those, or we think we have access to those. Not in this size, it appears, so I guess we're going with a different design philosophy with this vehicle. Here, return pod. This thing looks interesting. Can it do science? Yes, it can. Questions can do it effectively. We will have to find out, but we will definitely be putting a heat shield on it and a parachute, but most importantly it will need a heat shield to survive an atmospheric re-entry of its planned magnitude. So we'll just go ahead and put that upon the top of the vehicle and start preparing the lower stage segments, which will be mandated inside of a parachute fairing. Yes. And for sure, before they go up, we will try our best to implement some basic science experiments on the spacecraft. Those experiments will include certain camera effects and a few others. We'll just try to load a film cam on this one. Just keep it simple for our first test of this launch vehicle. Definitely a second or orbital controlling piece on the bottom because we do not know how this launch is going to go. Metal for the fairing type, and we will look at our electronics. Seems like we do have solar panels. They're not really useful right now, but well, they're there. So we will start attaching basic tankage to the vehicle, that especially being in the form of Atlas tanks. Now, these Atlas tanks will not carry us to orbit, but they will provide a key movement from where we lied to where we're going now. So as we look at our engine selection here, we do have Atlas sustainers and Atlas boosters, which are nice type engines. For this type vehicle, we will only be needing 2 of each variant So we're just gonna put a mounting fuel tank, which should be here. Yeah, right here. Mounting fuel tank in an Atlas sustainer, followed directly up by 2 Atlas booster engines. This will take a good amount of time to build, but it's no longer a sounding rocket. This is the what do we call this? Sky Streaker. Yeah, Sky Streaker 1. Beautiful. And it is an Atlas type launch vehicle. Well, it is an Atlas launch vehicle, but we don't need to be aware of that. It will be incredibly useful to the program for sure, though, but the fairing deployment is what is concerning me on this design. Here, we are going to make it look a bit different than what we're typically meant to use for these vehicles, just so we can make it look a little special on its vehicle type. It will be an Atlas A variant, I guess, just so it has a little bit of that extra pizzazz that it needs to be a functional vehicle. At the moment of recording this is the last episode I currently have in the pipeline. There is going to be an episode 5 probably this weekend. 5, if not today, Orbit will be in episode 5 or 6, and then we can really start getting down to real mission objectives. And it seems that Sky Streaker 1 will be ready in 100 days. So that just means it's now 1954, and well, we have a lot of things to work on this year. That is what is most adequately known from this agency is our work ethic is incredibly strong. Now, if I'm just gonna stop warp and cancel the alarm here so we can just skip right through the vehicle assembly. We do have 33 science now, which is interesting. I think it was due to the completion of that vehicle, but we now will be launching it, and it should, keyword should, be able to make it to an intercontinental state, as this does have a SAS as we unlocked it last time with our basic probe science module. I did have someone ask about the mod pack, so I will post a link to Ballistic Fox's Discord server and my CCAN file in the description of this video. You can just follow Soul's installation instructions and put it on quarter scale, and then use my ccan.install file for the rest of your modding. This only does include American parts, so be prepared for that. We are basically going with the American Space Agency here, if that has not been evident by our vehicles. So we get the Atlas out onto this launch pad, and it is a beautiful day to launch a spacecraft. So up we go into the location that is space. Definitely gonna do a bit of that. We're not going to use any sort of quick saving. I do make quick saves, as if the game crashes I will obviously use a quick save, but that being our only exception, I think it's a safe moment to start our gravity turn, and we will start taking film photos and not transmitting them, but definitely transferring the data into a better container. That container being the control pod. Oh no, and there's aerodynamic push limit for that. That's not good. Good thing we got higher into the atmosphere than anticipated, so our rocket could correct itself on this almost devastational maneuver. We will proceed as a normal mission plan would and try to bring this vehicle to a space where it can nicely, well, rest. I did not think we got high enough with this vehicle. I think this might end up being a failure, which is truly unfortunate. Oh, or not. We might be able to recover. the vehicle's fighting for control right now, so we will have to see if we are able to get that apoapsis up with our remaining delta V and 1:22 thrust ratio, which is better than I was hoping to get out of an Atlas launch vehicle, but you know how these vehicles go. We're definitely breaking at good speeds now, so we probably will be able to break 80 kilometers for sure, which we have done, as you can see there. Now our goal is just going to be to separate as far away from the coastline as we physically can. As you can see, that's proving quite well. We might even reach, nope, not Africa, but close enough in my eyes. And then we'll do one last film exposure for keeping the data and transferring it in to our main spacecraft bay, if I can access it. There we go. That is now stored, so we will separate our main spacecraft and be on our way with that. So the heat shield did just detach itself, I believe, which is not nominal at all. But we will fix some of our bugs on the Atlas vehicle in the predecessors to this. So we're just gonna hope for the best on our re-entry, do a quick telemetry report, make absolutely nothing off of it, but we are going to make the best out of this mission. And, oh, looks like aerodynamic forces broke our parachute. Not the, which is very, is there a way to deploy the spares? Because I know we have them. Redeployment at altitude of atmospheric pressure of let's do an altitude, deployment altitude of 3,600 meters. It looks like it's not deploying. Odd. Usually does, but atmospheric pressure is full. Redeployment nominal. We're landing at 51 feet. Recovery of the vessel. And we'll just do a normal recovery of that vehicle. The vehicle is definitely unsafe. That is a new known fact. So we will have to improve on further Atlas designs to make it more safe for the crew to inhabit. But we will be attempting an orbital flight very, very soon. The reconditioning of our launch pad is what will get us to that point. We now have 42 signs to unlock new technologies, those being in specific some better aeronautical materials, some more functional pieces of hardware, and then definitely some improved upper stage hypergolic engines. That is a certainty. But these will take a while to unlock now that we are seeing the change in our agency's ability. We'll check our upgrades. We only have 4 available, but one in the VAB, and then the rest remaining into the other. So we're just going to start researching all of our main programs there. It is now June of 1954, and our launch vehicle, which will now be the Sky Streaker 2, will hopefully be the next and hopefully the most successful vehicle of our space program's history. We did tune our gravity turn a bit too early on last mission, and that is what doomed the program, but I am evident to believe that the parachute here will be able to survive the atmospheric composition of the vehicle. So I definitely use an altitude deployment instead of a pressure. Pre-deployment be at 2,500 meters, and let's see if that works for Skystreaker 2, which it should. It is no different than the prior vehicle. This is the exact same vehicle we are going to launch as last time. No changes have been made. Just gotta get some better readings from our data on the ground, and hopefully better data in Africa, which is... Africa's been the target. It's actually quite odd. I never see Africa as a landing target. Maybe that's for political reasons, but in this save, real world politics do not apply, so we are safe from that. And it is now September of 1954. It has been almost an entire year since the last episode, and we are planning to end it off around 1955 today. So one more launch after this, and we should be good to get off of the save for today and upload episode 4 to the series. Now, it has been a long path to get to this point, and I do thank you all very dearly for watching the series and going through all of my failures. If you ever look into downloading the mod pack, if you could find fixes to some of my parachute problems, I'd love to hear them. But for now, we have another vehicle to launch. The Atlas booster, performing nominal as always, off the ground. We're gonna get a lot of info from this flight, and I'm certain reset experiment, we're gonna need high altitude readings. Okay, whoa. Ooh. No. Could we not do that? No. Okay. Okie dokie, back on target. No, we're not. Okay. I get it. Well, we tried, and that is all our agency asks for. And the spacecraft will gracefully float down to the ground and do a telemetry report. Not make any money off of it, obviously, but we will still definitely land on the ground, which, yeah, that's what happened. So we're just gonna move on from our failure and retest and relaunch a very, very similar vehicle, but we'll try maybe a redesign. I have been a bit less diligent with the spacecraft than the others. It is a new test after all. We will have to go through its failures, unfortunately, but the failures of the vehicle are what make it a much better vehicle. So the main differences between where we currently sit and our new vehicle is possibly gonna have some adjustments to its performance. Nothing major, now that we have actual radial decouplers, we can add some solid rocket boosters along the side of the spacecraft, preferably in coloration with a lot of the rest of this large vehicle. That one doesn't seem to fit our design, so I guess we'll use a larger stage engine, which is fine. I remember using this one on an earlier mission, but we do not need the designs of prior. So we can just go up and determine that this spacecraft will fly, and that its flight will be completely, I don't want to say successful as of right now, but I don't want to say dysfunctional, that's for sure. as this is the launch that will hopefully bring us further into the stars than ever before at this agency. The rollout sequence of this vehicle is now at launch pad. It will be night upon this launch. That is how you know it is a true game changer to the space program. Won't be much to be seen, obviously, but it will definitely have an impact on the way we view our launches, because I've never actually done a night launch in this save before. I mean, veterans of the prior episodes will know that, but I have personally never had to have a night launch. I try to avoid them to the best of my ability, but we're just trying to wrap up this episode as soon as possible, so we will get out there and test it. Why not? That's my motto on it. Solid fuel and engines. Plus to rate ratio is high, like really high, considerably higher than it should be, which is good. But you will see those solid fueled boosters run out of fuel drastically faster than we expect them to. They're about to actually be out very, very quickly. Okay, I think this new Atlas vehicle is actually a lot more effective than my other design. We can now comfortably separate the kick stage of that engine and start our burn maneuver to get into a position where we feel comfortable getting into. So that position and orbital alignment is going to be probably double the distance of what you see on the Streaker probe that we just launched last time. So we should hopefully get more distance. This is a more distance-based vehicle. Distance is already about to reach what of the prior vehicle, which is always what we like to see in the department. So as we push ourselves even further forward than usual, we wonder what our landing application will look like. Will we land in a field of Africa, or will we land in the ocean? That is the test of our knowledge. But this has been a truly successful flight. That much is known. But as we can see here, we now are re-entering the atmosphere. They do a bit of a time warp there. This is no longer a science-based flight. This is just, can we get our stupid vehicle into where we need it to be? Bow shock appearing on the vessel of the beautiful Firefly mod. And once again, our parachute decides to break. Maybe that high of an altitude is not a good idea for parachutes. So our spares will deploy at a pressure of roughly 1 atmosphere. Deployment altitude, roughly 200 meters. Pre-altitude of, yeah, I don't know what this vessel is. Oh, it hit the water. This thing survives hitting water, which is really odd, and I don't know how I'm meant to feel about it, but it typically survives, so can't do what in the, what is, no, it's going into the, it's actually, huh, okay, well, odd. Well, we'll say we lost communications with the vehicle, so I guess that will be our excuse for that one. But as we wrap up today's vehicle, I say thanks for... Oh, sorry about that. Mic got unplugged briefly. But as I was trying to say, thanks for watching my video. I did not mean vehicle, and have a great rest of your day.